Hello, Yildiz Sethi here. I am going to talk to you about the 6-step trauma skill set secrets that I have found. And I'm going to present this in a slides so that you can watch it more than once if you want to, or hopefully you're going to get a lot of interesting information about what is available in terms of trauma recovery. My name is Yildiz Sethi. I have a Master of Counselling. I've been in private practice since the year 2000. I'm also a clinical hypnotherapist and a founder and an author. So please stay with me for this presentation. I hope you will find this informative. Wait a moment. We're going to go to the slides now. So here we are. 6-step trauma skill set secrets in trauma-informed recovery for fast, effective, gentle, safe, and holistic recovery with me, Yildiz Sethi. So what is trauma? Here is a definition here. This comes from my book, which is available as an ebook, a paperback, and audio. Trauma is any situation that causes an emotional disturbance that's unable to be processed and may range from relatively small disturbances to major emotional, psychological, neurological, or physical assaults or abuse. This is from my book, as mentioned. Trauma is a natural, automatic response to help us survive. That's a really important statement there. So the fight and flight response, I'm sure you might know a lot about this, so I'm going to do this briefly. Trauma comes when we come across a difficult situation and we have a big influx of adrenaline and other substances to give us the energy to be sharp, to fight, to run away, or to freeze. Now, the freezing may be the most problematic, as people often get stuck in this. So I'm going to tell you a little about my story, which was when I first had a really good example of what trauma is and what it does. Well, I was about 12 to 13, the eldest of 7 children, and I was at home asleep early in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, I think it was, when I woke up to find lots of smoke coming from downstairs. My parents were both out at work at the time. And I know that's probably wouldn't be allowed these days, but that's how it was then. So I woke up, I suddenly realized we were in danger, and I got all of the children together. I woke up my second sister, who helped me a lot, picking up the baby, and we took all the children down the stairs, and I said we were to go out of the front hallway, out into the street. As we hit the bottom of the stairs, my sister noticed there was a doorway billowing with smoke and flames to one side, and she put her hand out. She was going to open the door. I think I just had a science lesson probably that week, which said never let flames have lots of oxygen. So I said, no, don't you dare open the door. And we went straight out to the street. Now, at that time, I told my sister to run next door to phone somebody to get the fire brigade. She came back crying a few minutes later. They would not let her use the phone. Amazing, right? I still can't believe that happened, but it did. So then I sent her down the road to a telephone box on the main street, and I said, just ring the emergency number. She knew the emergency number, to let them know what's happening. We need the fire brigade straight away. So she did. She came back, and we were all standing outside the front of the house while the house behind us was filling with flames, and the fire brigade came and they did their job, fantastic, and that was all good. Nobody was injured, nobody at all, right? We were all shocked. We were all, whatever. My parents came home, they were absolutely, shocked what had happened, but we were all safe. So that showed me such a lot because none of us had any traumatic symptoms at all, right? At all, which, when you think about it, is quite amazing. So I'm going to go back to the slides now. So when you look at that, one of the first secrets here is if a traumatic event is processed and is successful, so nobody got hurt, you got away with it, everybody's intact, there is no trauma, okay? Generally speaking. Fight and flight was successful as well, no trauma, okay? When people are stuck with being left in a situation that was horrible, which didn't have a good resolution, there's more likely to be trauma. So present trauma treatment, the medical model belief for at least 400 years to the present is the following. Trauma damages the brain and this is permanent. Brain health can't be recovered or healed. Now, if your belief is that recovery is not possible, what would you offer trauma victims? Well, you'd probably offer to manage their symptoms, help them understand them, provide tools and strategies to manage them, prescribe medication to reduce them. This is the medical model. Now, CBT and trauma-informed counseling works with the conscious mind, the cognitions and the behavior. That's a fact. That's what it does. Trauma-informed counseling, yes, it's okay for providing a safe place to talk. However, retelling the traumatic story itself can be re-traumatizing without processing it. EMDR has a limited success rate. There is a controversy about that at the moment. CBT and all the related therapies focus on cognitions and behaviors with a wide range of strategies and tools to manage symptoms. Exposure therapy being one of them. Medication to manage symptoms is often the main treatment and frequently for life. Mindfulness relaxation training can also help to give tools to manage symptoms. So that's kind of, a rough lowdown of CBT trauma treatments. So how successful is this? Okay, I'll leave you to your own thoughts about how successful this treatment is. Until recently, there was little known about trauma. The fact that so many people are still suffering so much many years later shows. Understanding and talk about it doesn't process it. Managing symptoms doesn't process it. Unpacking and retelling or telling the story frequently traumatizes and doesn't process it. EMDR listing traumatic events is frequently re-traumatizing. So another secret, there is new knowledge, skills, and techniques available. Research, new psychotherapies, new knowledge about the biology of the brain and the mind, structure and function, more knowledge about neuroscience and epigenetics. This is why I developed the 6-step trauma skill set, because what's happening already is not really taking in all this new knowledge. With new knowledge, we can have new psychotherapies, new processes. My secret is why manage symptoms when we have the knowledge and skills to process them safely, quickly. The medical model problem is they're not using neuroscience and epigenetic findings from scientific research in their education to update their beliefs and gain a better understanding for better treatments of trauma. Not keeping up with the developments about working with the subconscious mind safely and effectively. Now, another secret about the facts about the brain. The mind is the powerhouse of the body. The mind holds the problems and also its solutions. Most of our deeper problems are trapped in the subconscious mind, not the conscious mind where most of the medical model focuses. That the brain is able to rewire itself under appropriate conditions. Neuroscience is telling us that. So how much of our mind is conscious? Look, 7% approximately. If you Google it, you'll see it goes even as low as 5%. Scary, right? I was shocked when I saw that too the first time. Our conscious mind is around 7%, and the subconscious 93%. Now, another secret, what we know now. Neuroscience research shows that unprocessed trauma is repressed and trapped in the subconscious mind and body, not just the mind, also the body. The brain can heal. Trauma is not an illness, it's a natural response. The fight and flight response is to protect for survival. Unprocessed trauma is repressed in the subconscious, limbic system, amygdala, and hippocampus. This is connected to the body cells and organs, nervous system. Unprocessed trauma, even though it may have helped us survive, causes problematic symptoms such as nightmares, flashbacks, panic, helplessness, hopelessness, etc. Working with symptoms is not the answer. We need to focus on how to process trauma safely, gently, and effectively. Access the trauma. Process it. Another secret, trauma frequently becomes the source of many mental health problems, such as mental health, depression, anxiety, panic, poor self-esteem, substance abuse, relationships, self-esteem, sabotage patterns, as well as the full-blown trauma that we know about with PTSD. So here is a little map of the way I've been working for the last, since the 2000 actually, where I've noticed that once we locate the source of a mental health problem or the source of a substance abuse or a relationship problem or sexual abuse or assault, you will often find a trauma right at the cause. And once you resolve the trauma, it's much easier to work with the actual other stuff. It falls into place much easier. Of course, trauma is also full PTSD from a war, domestic violence, natural disaster, etc. as well. But the point is that for many people that I see who come to me with relationship issues or mental health in particular, once we actually go to the cause of their problem, what it started with, it's nearly always a trauma. And once that's resolved, everything else seems to go away easily. Another secret, trauma intensity is on a spectrum. However, it's all trauma. Relational trauma caused by disconnection, not being seen, not being heard, not feeling loved is a trauma, particularly to a child or a baby, because all they want is cuddles and love and connection. Disappointments, heartbreak, disturbances, confusion, shock, as well as full-blown terror, of course, that causes PTSD. It's all trauma and it's on a spectrum. Another secret, what's different about the way I'm working? Well, I'm working at cause, safely, gently, efficiently, and fast. Working at cause secrets. Efficient processing of trauma releases it from the mind and body, allows the brain to rewire and heal. Good news is this can happen quickly. Neuroscience tells us that. Another secret, a big one here. What I've found is there are two subconscious minds, the personal and the generational or transgenerational. Personal experiences that have caused trauma, such as disappointments, attacks, bullying, shocks, DV, sexual abuse, war, natural disasters, become a trauma in our subconscious mind, which is personal. Then there's generational trauma, generational relationship patterns that are highly dysfunctional and very stress and anxiety causing. This can start as early as babyhood, burdens that we carry from our family, which cause anxieties, entanglements, and trauma that comes from generational terrible situations in our family of origin. So we carry both personal and generational subconscious minds, and we carry both lots of trauma where it happens in both sides, or perhaps it's just personal trauma or just generational trauma. We have so much new current and verified knowledge now. Neuroscience says the brain is neuroplastic and can rewire and heal for most. Epigenetics tells us that trauma is passed through generations as well. There's lots of biological research right now telling us much more about the structure and function of the brain and the limbic system. And there's mind science, new psychotherapies, new ways of being able to access and work with subconscious trauma safely, gently, and fast. So now here we come to the 6-step trauma skill set and what it's all about. It's about efficient, safe, trauma-informed processing, identifying the personal trauma symptoms. Yes, I do use symptoms, but only to start with, to understand what they're struggling with. Facilitate clearing of neural pathways within a session. Identify generational trauma symptoms. Again, I'm using symptoms, but these are what they come with. Facilitate clearing of trauma in generational mind. Identify personal and generational symptoms if it's both sides. Facilitate clearing of personal and generational mind. How? Through 3 strands of treatments. It has to be specific for each particular one. So here you've got the 6-step trauma skill set, trauma recovery. I'm using emotional mind integration, family constellations, and a combination rapid core healing. Working at cause means I'm using specific ways of working with the personal and generational trauma efficiently. So for personal trauma, emotional mind integration. For generational trauma, I'm using family constellations. And for the combination, I'm using rapid core healing mastery. So looking at strand 1, personal trauma recovery. For personal trauma, I'm using neurotrans psychotherapy, which I founded emotional mind integration. Working at cause in the subconscious limbic system, clearing one neuro pathway at a time within each session of trauma recovery. And this is fast, deep, gentle clearing. 4, personal attacks, bullying, sexual abuse, and assaults, anger issues or any other emotional state issues, mental health, depression, anxiety, panic, sabotage, okay? So I'm using EMI, emotional mind integration, for all of those, and you can run a whole business using emotional mind integration by itself, working with personal trauma. I'm also using, for strand 2, the generational trauma recovery skill set, using family constellations. Some people call it systemic family constellations, same thing. It is experiential, phenomenological, solution-focused, brief, and an energetic approach for resolving generational trauma. Again, deep, fast, effective, solution-focused. 4, relational patterns, generational trauma, mental health that comes through generations. You get whole families of people that suffer with depression or anger issues or anxiety, etc. Family constellation is ideal for that, and incest, sexual abuse. Again, you can make a whole business out of working with Family Constellation Strand 2 Trauma Skillset. And you've got personal and generational trauma recovery, Stand 3 Trauma Skillset, which is the advanced rapid core healing, clearing both personal and generational trauma with a combination of emotional mind integration and family constellation for powerful, deep clearing, gently, deeply, and fast, working at cause in both the personal and generational subconscious minds. Now, 6-step trauma skill set training or education, what would that do for your clients? If you were able to help them with a major trauma in just a few sessions, anything from 2 to 4, approximately for most, what would that do for your confidence? What would that do for your career and your business? Now, the good news is that trauma can be processed in the present and recovery is available for most if good therapeutic processes are used. And here I've got it in a nutshell here. Because I use love in both the emotional mind integration, this is another secret, process, and also in the family constellation process, as well as all the other therapeutic processes within each of them as well. So you can become a 6-step skill set trauma recovery practitioner. Emotional mind integration is 9 weeks of training online. Family Constellations is 14 weeks of training online. The Rapid Core Healing Mastery Final is 4 weeks online as well. You may do one strand only of emotional mind integration or family constellations if you prefer, or do all 3 for a large discount. Change your life as a practitioner and make a difference. So who am I? Yes, I am the founder of Emotional Mind Integration and Rapid Core Healing, and I've been a family constellations practitioner and trainer since 2005. I'm also the founder of Practical Trauma-Informed Treatment. I have a master's degree in counselor diploma in clinical hypnotherapy, and I'm the author of Rapid Core Healing, and I've been in private practice since 2000. The book Rapid Core Healing is available on Amazon and in good bookshops, as well as an ebook, a paperback, and also an audio, where you'll learn a lot more about what I'm offering from that. I also was an educator at Australian College of Applied Psychology in Australia for 8 years, and I have a full PACFA registration for my practice as a counsellor. So for more details, please look at rapidcorehealing.com. So I've shared a lot of information and secrets with you here in this presentation. I hope you found it informative and interesting. And if you're interested in going to any of these trainings or looking them up, please look it up on rapidcorehealing.com under training. And you will find that for each of the strands, strand 1 EMI or 2 family constellations, or the final Mastery Rapid Core Healing discount bundle, you will need to contact me to organize a training call where we can talk about what you're looking for and see if this is right for you. I like to make sure that we're mutually compatible if we're going to be working together with an online training. I'm the person that does all the training, so you will be learning with the founder. Okay, so please contact me if you have any questions.